Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today is all about Hoyas. So it's actually Tuesday night as I'm filming this. It's been a full work day. My makeup's melted off. I had a mask on all day, and that is why it's another no face day. So I think what I'm gonna do for the next few weeks is like every single week I'm going to come up with a new excuse as to why I'm not showing my face, and then it'll be like excuse after excuse after excuse, and then you're gonna all get used to it, and then one day I'll stop with the excuses and no one will notice anything. So in all seriousness, it is Tuesday night. I ran out of time to film on the weekend to get this up for Sunday, and I was like, yeah, I'll just film like one weekday evening and then I'll just edit throughout the week. So I'm kind of like racing against the clock because I think like my grow lights around me are going to be turning off at any moment now. So anyway, as you can tell by the title of this video, this is going to be my top 10 Hoyas at the moment. The plan originally was to do my entire Hoya collection, but I don't know if I have it in me to be working like super late nights this week. So I'm gonna keep it to 10. My agent, Charmaine, has advised me to do so. So I don't really know if there is like particular types of Hoya I gravitate to, but when I like a Hoya, I just really like it. And they tend to be large leaf Hoyas, splashy Hoyas, and veiny Hoyas. I don't know that I'm like really that into variegated Hoyas. Like there aren't that many that really like grab me. And I also not a huge fan of like tiny leaf Hoyas. Yeah, I think like big, veiny, gross looking ones are my favorite. So there's gonna be 10 Hoyas I'm gonna show you, but it's actually 12 plants, but I'm gonna categorize 3 of them as like one single plant. And you're gonna see why later. For each Hoya, I'm going to talk about how I'm growing them, what conditions they're currently in, what substrate they're in, and like, I guess if they're happy in that situation at the moment. Full disclaimer, I am not a Hoya expert by any stretch. I acquired the majority of my Hoya collection in 2021, that sounded so weird. And a lot of them were gifted to me by Jing because she's just like an angel, first of all, and second, she wants to recruit as many people as possible into this like Hoya kingdom where she reigns supreme as the leader. And it worked, obviously, because I love Hoyas now. And a couple of them were imports, a couple of them were just like my regular purchases. But anyway, I don't know a ton about Hoyas, but I love to learn about Hoyas. So like if you have other tips for growing Hoyas really well, things that work really well for you, or any corrections to anything I'm saying, please feel free to leave a comment. I'm happy to learn more about Hoyas, and of course, like we all have our own growing experiences with them, and if you have something to add that we can all benefit from, that would be amazing. So anyways, without further ado, onto the Hoyas. So this first Hoya was a gift from Jing. She showed up at my door one day with this Hoya and just like gave it to me, and I'm like, why are you giving this to me? It's too nice. And she's like, okay, bye, and then like left. And I was just like holding a Hoya in my hands. And this is one of the ones that have done the best for me in my collection, and that is this Hoya AH074. I think this is a cultivar from AH Hoya. Is it called AH Hoya or Ahoya? Because I always say Ahoya in my mind when I see it written out. And they're in Thailand, as I think, did I say that already? Anyways, so when she gave it to me, it was a 2-leafer. I believe it was a rooted bottom cutting, and it was this leaf and this leaf. And then it didn't do anything for, I wanna say like a good 3 to 6 months. And it's still in the same pond that that she gave it to me in, and this is just pure lechuza pond, and it's very well rooted now, growing passive hydro. So maybe like 3 to 6 months later, it was, I remember June-ish of last summer, 2021, it grew a couple of leaves like this one and this one. And then I went away on a work trip, and then I came back and like this was there. And it would just been non-stop growing since then, and been growing like some really, really nice silvery leaves. And like people ask me a lot how I get the really silver to come out, because maybe like theirs isn't as highly splashed. But like the newer leaves that I have up here that were grown in the last couple of months or month-ish are not as silver as what was grown here. So that's like my only observation, is that this was grown in summertime during a heat wave, and then this was grown in the winter, and this was in higher light because it had grown a lot taller, so it was a lot closer to the grow light. I had also heard that splash can be encouraged by temperature drops at night, but then again, there would have been colder nights for these less splash leaves because this was grown in winter. So I don't really know. All I can say is that it's in pond, it's growing in regular household conditions. It's pretty close to a grow light, probably like 6 to 9 inches away. And I basically just ignore it and it grows like a weed. But if you have one that's not growing and it's rooted, I say just wait, and it's gonna take off for you one day. So yeah, one of my favorites for sure, and definitely one of my bigger Hoyas. And then next is another gift, but this time this is a gift from Charmaine. So when I first met her, the first time I met her face to face, we were like planning this trade of like a whole bunch of different plants. And one of them was like a single node of this Hoya that I didn't ask for, but she knew I would like. I don't know, I didn't even know her at the time, so I don't know how she would know that, but I wanna say it didn't do anything for me for the first 6 months because I didn't know what I was doing with Hoya, so I just kind of like left it laying on moss, and it didn't do anything. I don't even think it rooted at all, it just kind of like stayed alive. But I'm happy to report that a year after that, we now have this full plant of Hoya linearis. So this is the node that she gave me originally, and it's still there. And since then I've cut it, I think at least twice, and it's branched off in 2 places and just been non-stop growing. This is also living in regular household conditions in my living room. And just, yeah, it's so easygoing. It's so just fuss-free. I also have it growing in semi-hydro. This is a mixture of, it's very algae ridden, but I don't know if you can see, oh, this is probably better. Lechuzapon, coarse perlite, and fine grade Orchiata bark. I fertilize it the same as any of my other plants. I don't give my Hoyas any special feed, and it just so easy. I love this Hoya so much, and it's like little tiny fuzzy leaves, and like some people call them boring, but I don't think like the beauty of this plant is in the individual leaves, even though like they're really cute and fuzzy, but the real beauty of it is like when you have just like a long vine like this, and it's so delicate, and like, yeah, how can you not love this? It's gorgeous. So another definite favorite is this Hoya linearis. Thank you, Charmaine, for this plant. I love her so much. And then the next one is kind of similar. This is one that I got this past summer from Crystal Star Nursery, and that is this Hoya Eves Rocheri. And this is like another one of those like kind of delicate spindly ones. I wanted this plant ever since I saw it in Jing's collection. It's just like so pretty when it's like, I don't know, it just has a really nice structure to it. They have really, really tiny little leaves like this. Oh dear, like this. And it's very viney, as you can see, and it's just like really pretty hanging off of a shelf. Currently, this is living in my Millsville cabinet. because I wasn't really sure what it wanted. I don't know if it was like a difficult Hoya or not, but definitely one of my favorites. I really like Hoyas that are like spindly with tiny little long leaves like this. I had another one called, what was it called? Hoya sicularis. Is that right? I'm gonna put the right name down here if I remember, but it died. It just, I couldn't keep it alive. So this is my replacement, and so far so much easier than that Hoya. What's next? Oh, okay, so this is a Hoya that I imported sometime last year. I don't remember when. And it's been like so easy. It was such an easy rooter. It was adorable. That is this Hoya villosa right here. So this is one of the leaves that it was imported with. Ooh. And this is the other one here. I think that's an import leaf. Yeah, that was an import leaf. And then since then it's grown at least 2 or 3 leaves for me. So this is one of the leaves grown in my care, and it vined off and grew other leaves. I chopped the top off and gave that to Charmaine, but we've got another growth point here finally. So I'm excited for this one to grow. So first of all, the venation and the shape of the leaves, I absolutely adore. Like, it looks like it was just carved out of Play-Doh. The veins are really cool. You can see, maybe you can't see, but it is slightly fuzzy on the tops. It has these tiny little hairs. Oh, you can probably see it in this leaf a bit better. I'm gonna just give you some angles. But the best thing about this plant is that the back of the leaf is very fuzzy, but very fine fuzz. Like, it feels like My Little Ponies. The fuzzy kind. It's just so baby soft and like a baby puppy, or like, yeah, like a puppy's belly. It's just so nice. I really, really love this Hoya, and it's been like really easy for me. This is in my pond mix. So once again, the pond perlite orchiata bark, growing in like a small little reservoir like that. That's just like a takeout cup with the top cut off, and living in my grow tent. But like, yeah, I just love this Hoya. It's kind of like that reptilian kind of leaf. So moving along in like the reptilian kind of theme, this is a plant that wasn't super easy for me. I killed the first one that I got. It was imported, and I think it was like pretty much rooted when I got it from Jing, but it just like completely died. But the second time she gave me one, no, I bought one. No, we traded for one. This one has done way better for me. And this one is this Hoya clemenciorum. There's this like category of Hoya that I call ancient dumpster Hoya. They're like Hoyas that look like it came from a dumpster circa like 500 BC. There's like a whole bunch of Hoyas that fit into this category, and this is one of them. And it can be like this like kind of rugged edge. It can be like kind of like that murky, messy looking sun stress. It can be like messy looking splash, but kind of random. But I think the majority is like, it has that like that copper bronzy sun stress look with that like edge that looks like it was like just aged off. But anyway, this is one of my favorite ancient dumpster Hoyas. This is the leaf that was imported, and then this grew in my care, so I knew that it was okay. And then just recently this one grew, and they're so freaking hard, like so freaking rigid. I'm trying to bend it and it just doesn't want to bend. Like, I probably could snap it in half if I tried. And like this is like really rough, and it feels like I probably cut bread with the edge of this leaf, and just like really cool. So this one lives on the top shelf of my Millsville cabinet in high humidity, probably 80 to 90% humidity, really warm, because it's like right at the top there is close to the grow light. So it's probably like when the lights are on anywhere between 25 to 30 degrees depending on the season. And it's also in my pond mix with perlite and orchiata. Lots of algae because it's so close to the light, and ever since it's been established in this mix and growing, it's been pretty fuss free, so knock on wood. Yeah, one of my favorites, Hoya clemensiorum. And another kind of dumpstery Hoya is one that I got from Jing. This one hasn't done anything for me since I got it, except for root a ton, and that is this Hoya, how do I say it, Callistophila. And I know there's like different varieties of this Hoya, and to be honest, there's like 3 other Hoyas that look exactly like this to me, and I can't tell the difference, but whatever this is, I love it. This is one of the large leaf kinds, I think. That's the other leaf here. These are the leaves that she gave this cutting to me with. What? These are the leaves that I got from her when she gave it to me. Sold it to me, she sold it to me. And it hasn't grown yet, but it kind of looks like it wants to push something out right there. Right there. It's rooted a ton in this pond mix, so once again with my orchiata. And is there perlite in here? No, this is just orchiata and pond. On the top shelf of my Millsville, little bit of sun stress. It's probably like this far away from the lights, like this far. But yeah, I love this Hoya. It's been easy to keep alive. It hasn't changed one bit, but also it has not grown for me, so we shall see. But yeah, another one of my favorite, like visually love this kind of leaf. It's super cool. Okay, I want to kind of change it up a little bit. I want to do, okay, so this next one, maybe you could have seen it this whole entire time. Could you see it the whole entire time? Okay, so this is the Hoya that started it all for me. This was the first Hoya I ever owned. And that is this Hoya carnosa compacta, or are they just calling it Hoya compacta now? But I freaking love this Hoya. This is the first Hoya that I killed. It was in soil and I didn't know what I was doing and I overwatered it. But this one is in leca. Seems to be pretty happy in this substrate. Look at that. Pretty rooty in there, but I'm not gonna do anything about it. But yeah, this one lives also in regular room conditions on my living room shelf under grow lights. It's flowered for me a whole bunch of times. This is one of the 2 Hoyas that ever flowered for me. They're beautiful pink blooms, but they smell like ass. I cannot stand the smell of this. It smells like, everyone says it smells like chocolate, or like when I Googled it to see what it would smell like, they're like, oh, it smells like chocolate, but it smelled like someone engineered chocolate for dogs to eat. And then they put it on a shelf and nobody bought it. And it's like been sitting in this dollar store for 2 years, and then it went on special and still nobody wanted it. And then like 5 years later, someone opened that bag of chocolate or that engineered chocolate and then took a whiff and they're like, okay, yeah, like apply this scent to the compacta flower. And that's what that smells like to me. We've got some sun stress here at the top, but that's not really what I love about this Hoya. I just like when I look at this Hoya, I'm like, what the heck like it's so cool. I don't know, it just, oh, I lost my words. It just does something to me, like this like curly, shapely, ropey thing. I thought I saw mealybugs. Is this mealybugs? No. I'm terrified to get mealybugs on this plant, honestly. Like there's no way I'm gonna be able to go in and clean everything. Sometimes this plant can get like these tiny little splashes on here and it freaks me out because I keep thinking they're mealybugs. Anyway, so this plant has been like super easy for me once I discovered that it likes to be grown in passive hydro. I fertilize it like any other plant, and I will say that it has only flowered for me in the summer, and it flowered a whole bunch of times. I got a whole bunch of peduncles grown, and then like it's flowered multiple times from those. But yeah, like no flowers over fall winter. So that's all I gotta say about this one. And this is the one that I had 3 plants representing it, so of course you're gonna be able to guess what the other 2 are. So next is this Hoya compacta, outer variegated, or are they calling regalis? Regalis? The elbow variegated Hoya, whatever. This was also a gift from one of my friends. So my friend, this was like such a sweet thing, that like one of the nicest things someone's ever done for me. So he was collecting a lot of Hoyas at the time. And I told him like I really love compacta, and like this was on my list of Hoyas I wanted. And then I remember in a Facebook group, someone posted this plant for trade and they wanted an albosingonium for it. And then he commented, oh, I'll PM you. And I was like, ooh, that's fun for him. And then like a few hours later, he messaged me and was like, I got that Hoya for you. And I was like, what? Like he like cut his plant, got on a bus, met this girl, and then traded his plant for this Hoya for me. It was so nice. Like I cried. It was such a sweet thing to do. And it's grown so much since I got it from him. Well, I mean, like as far as compacta goes, it grew a lot. So I think it was about this long when I got it from him. So all of this growth was in the past year and a bit. And it was 2 little like nubbin cuttings when I got it from him. And this lives on the same shelf as the other compacta under grow lights. It's also in leca, doing pretty well, and no plans to repot it anytime soon because I hear they just hate being repot. So yeah, like my dream is to have a couple more cuttings that are like really long and like just this curly ropey, love compacta so much. And then of course, the last one of this favorites trio is this Hoya compacta Mauna Loa. This is one I got from, well, it's from Crystal Star Nursery. Jing got it for me, or she got it in one of the restocks and knew that I wanted it. So she was like, yeah, you're getting this Hoya. So I got this from her. This has maybe grown like 1 leaf for me in the last 6 months. Definitely not as easy as the other 2, but it is not in leca. This one is in, I think this is in, oh yeah, this is in Jing's homemade pond mix. And if you're curious what her mix is, I'm just gonna pop a little screenshot here of her Instagram highlights, and she shows what she puts in that mix. Yeah, it seems to be pretty rooted. Like we got roots coming out the bottom, but I lost a couple leaves here at the base and it's not growing a ton. Although in saying that, I see some new growth at the top, so maybe it's just really slow compared to the Regalis. But it has like that cute little orangey vein stem vine. And this one is like a really nicely variegated specimen, like a a lot of white in the center. But yeah, last of my trio, my Hoya compacta babies. Okay, so the last one, no, second last one. Have I done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, right. Okay, so next up is another plant that I got from Jing. This was a purchase. Yes, it was a purchase. So believe it or not, this is a Hoya carnosa Wilbur Graves. So this came off of a true Russian Wilbur Graves, but it kind of like reverted, I guess you could say. And it vined out and grew a couple of low splash leaves. And this leaf is the latest one that has just come out for me. So also very speckly, not very silver, but honestly, I don't even care. Like, it's so cute. Look how round and chubby this leaf is. Ugh, adorable. And I wanted to include this because I really love carnosa. Like, it's just like so round, and I really love carnosa blooms. This one is like very slightly fuzzy, and obviously like the Wilbur Graves tends to be a little bit more chubby compared to like regular carnosa. I don't even care that it's like slightly reverted. It's just so stinking cute, like so speckly and delicious. Ugh, cutie, 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 cutie. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll see if I can get it to become more splashy in the future, but even if it doesn't, I just really love this plant. All right, second to last Hoya. So this one is one that I showed in my plant room tour, except it looks totally different now. I imported this maybe, I think it was November, so just a few months ago, and it suffered cold damage when it got here, and I don't know if this is the reason, but this is my Hoya hypolasia. So I'm gonna plug a picture right here of what they look like and why it's my favorite. They're so stinking pretty slash cute slash I want to roundhouse kick it in the face. It's so yummy. They're like fuzzy and they're like dimpled and they're like ruffly and they're long and they're dark. They're so nice, and I was really excited to get this because I was trying to import it for a good few months last year, and it just like the supplier just never had it, but finally I got one, and both those leaves have now fallen off. But Jing told me not to give up because it has a whole bunch of roots coming out the bottom of the pot, and obviously I have aerial roots up here and right here behind my finger, I mean in front of my finger, you can see that's new growth right there. So she thinks it's gonna come back. I have no clue if this is a difficult Hoya or not. I just know that it's kind of hard to get, which means that it probably is kind of a difficult Hoya if like suppliers are struggling to keep them in stock. But anyway, also in my Pond Perlite Orchiata mix and living in a prop box, and I hope it's gonna come back because I want one like that. And I'm gonna chop it, and I'm gonna give it to Jing because she's an angel. Hoya hypolasia. Okay, we're at the last Hoya. So this is one that I got because I wanted Hoya Daikie, but I hear that they're a bitch to grow. But I wanted the look, so I got this one because I heard it's a lot easier. And I didn't realize that I would love it even more than the Daikie. And that is this Hoya Larissa. This was also imported at the same time as the hypolasia. And like when I got it, I'm like, oh, it's pretty cute. yeah, it's pretty nice. It's like kind of veiny, kind of splashy. And then this leaf formed. I did not know I was gonna love this Hoya so much until this leaf came out. Like, okay, so first of all, it's darker, it's greener, it's a little splashier, and the veins are a little bit more pronounced, but it's fuzzy. The previous leaves, I couldn't tell that it was fuzzy. It was like pretty smooth. But this leaf, are you gonna be able to see it? There's tiny little hairs all over it. And it's so cute. It's so round, and it's like, the veins are a little bit sunken, so it has this like puffy look to it. And they just look like really nice neighbor that like when they were like cutting their grass, they like come over and like do your grass too. And like when they're like shoveling snow in the winter, they make sure that like they do a little bit of yours too. And then like if they see you struggling with something, they're like, oh, do you want to borrow this? And that's this Hoya right here. So stinking cute. It's also in my Pawn Perlite Orchiata mix. And we got nice juicy roots, lots of air pockets for it to have circulation at the roots. Yeah, I think I can graduate it out of the prop box now because it seems really happy where it is. Not a ton of heat at the moment, but definitely very high humidity. And okay, one more time, just want to appreciate how cute this leaf is. If you don't own this Hoya and you like splashy Hoyas, get one. Get one. Like go to your nearest Hoya godmother and beg them for this Hoya because you will not regret it. All right, guys, that is everything for this week. I hope you enjoyed seeing a few of my favorite Hoyas. My tea is super cold, but yeah, that's kind of gross. I'm just gonna go grab Huxley because he's at the door and we're gonna say goodbye. Shut your good boy. Have you been outside in the rain? You seem wet. Oh, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. You wanna say hi to your friends? You wanna say hi to your friends? Did you wanna say hi to your friends? That is it for today. Thank you so much for sticking through my top 10 Hoyas. If you have anything you want to add about care tips and things like that and what's worked for you, please leave them in the comments because I'd love to learn more about how to grow Hoyas. And similarly, if you have any questions, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to grab Jing and maybe she'll be so kind as to help out in the comment section. But other than that, let me know what your favorite Hoya is at the moment and whether or not there's any that I need in my collection. But I hope you have an amazing day and thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Thanks guys, bye-bye. Huds, are you just a baby? Are you just a baby? Are you just a baby? Are you just a baby?